Good afternoon and welcome to the council. I'm your host, Charlie Pacello. Give me just a minute as we get everything set up here. Sometimes we start these shows and we don't even know we're starting the show, and we're getting that show ready for you right now. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the council today. We have got a fantastic show for you. And I just want to, briefly thank all of you tuning in from where you are around the world. I mean, this show has continued to grow in its audience numbers, and we try to bring to you some of the best people, best groups, organizations that are doing things that are really out there to help people, to get them out there and to show what people are doing to make a difference in this world. We are broadcasting live. I mean, we are live. That's actually, can you believe it? We're actually live, and we're here in Denver, Colorado, in the beautiful city here of Denver, but we're broadcasting all across the nation and all around the world. We're being listened to on all these different stations, but our purpose and our intention here at KUHS is to be one of the leading streams all from around, not only from around this country, but from around the world, giving you the best programming from a wide variety of musical genres, DJs in the studio. And our purpose is to give you a quality programming that reflects the diversity of our staff and have honest, grounded, authentic conversations about the things that are happening to us in our world that's filled with a lot of fear and distrust and separation. We strive to bring our city and our nation and our world together by providing a platform where we celebrate our commonalities, our goodness, and our humanity. At KUHS, you're going to find the best in bilingual programming and doctors out here giving you the best information about your health, just information about sports. We've got all kinds of different things here at KUHS The Stream. And I also have, a new website. It's called CoreSoulHealing.com. It is about healing our core soul, the wounds of the soul, those deep core soul wounds that are at the root cause of a lot of our problems. And this was birthed out of all the traumas that I had and the challenges that I had. And so it is built upon three principles, which is healing trauma, deepening the mind-body connection, and restoring the soul. And I've done a lot of studying over, my gosh, it must be like 20 years of trying to put this all together for you. And we've launched it, and we're going to be having our first retreat, which is going to be the Warriors Heart Retreat. It's going to be at the Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado, in September 16th through the 19th. It's going to be the first of its kind. There's going to be so many more, and it's all geared towards helping you to heal your heart, to open you to connecting deeper into your soul, and to, deepen your connection to yourself. It's going to be a combination of lectures and self-reflection, group work, classes, sacred circle, and all kinds of things. So packages are being available right now. Go check it out at the website, CoreSoulHealing.com. Look at the Warriors Heart Retreat. Again, that's CoreSoulHealing.com. Okay, folks, today we're going to be talking about something that's very dear and important to me and to all of us that are sitting here in the studio today. We're talking about the things that many people are confronted with, which is abuse, domestic violence, and abuse can show up in all kinds of different forms. It can be emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, and we need to be able to find places that are there that we can reach out to that can help us, that can give us a bastion, a home that will enable us to connect with others who have been through the same things that we have been through, that understand it at a deep soul core level, and that can give us the steps that they have taken on their journey to be able to climb out of the hell that they have been into, to give you the wisdom that they have gained so that you can get your life back. Domestic violence affects a lot of people. a lot of women, a lot of children, and it's something that we need to address as a society and as a culture. But one of the first things we've got to do is we've got to help those who've already been damaged by these experiences. And you know, I teach these classes. I was just telling my guests a little bit earlier, I teach these classes for parents who are going through divorce to set up parenting plans for their children, because usually at the core of divorce is a lot of these dysfunctional behavioral patterns, dysfunctional relational patterns. And we need to address that so we don't pass this on to our children. We have to be able to learn to identify what those patterns are, why we are drawn to certain people, why we are get caught up in these cycles, so we don't let our children repeat that same cycle, and can make the changes at that very personal, familial, and core level. And it's really important to me that we are able to get this information out to you, as wide a level as we possibly can, so that you can reach out to these people right here that are sitting next to me, that have got this phenomenal program that can help each and every one of you that is dealing with domestic violence and youth violence issues. They're amazing people. I've known two of them here for a long time. We've gone back a long time, and to see how much both of you have grown in the work that you're doing for all of these people out there is incredible. It's noble work. It is as noble as you can do. I mean, you're helping people to recover their lives and to reclaim that which was taken from them. And you know how to do it, and you've got the proven track record. And folks, I'm so excited to introduce to you my guests right now. Next to me is Shalay Collard. She is a certified faith-based equine-assisted philosophy and is the founder and CEO of Graceful Oaks Youth Ranch. Graceful Oaks offers faith-based programs for mental health and wellness, personal development and growth, and programs that strengthen families. The idea of the ranch began in 1999 when God spoke to Shalay's heart and placed a dream there of one day having a ranch where women, children, and families could come to find refuge from the painful places in their lives and experience hope and healing. Their website is www.gracefuloaksyouthranch.org. That's gracefuloaksyouthranch.org. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Charlie. We're excited to be here.
Well, I think, it is. I am humbled and excited to have all of you on. I would love for you just to kind of share and talk to the audience a little bit about who you are. And Shalay, let's start with you. A little bit about your background and where this dream came up and why this passion to help and do the work that you do.
You're right. There is a lot of passion behind this work. And I'm so excited and so honored to be a part of this team and what God is doing at the ranch. The seed was sown when I was a child, believe it or not. And it's so neat to see how God does things, even at a young age. And so the time that I go back to is when my parents first brought my horse Tina home. And experiencing this horse and the relationship and the intimacy that I had with her really just spoke to my heart and planted a seed for this ranch. And when times got tough at home, Tina and I would just leave for hours. We would go and just be together for hours. And it was so, like, the time together was so sweet. She taught me how to trust. She taught me how to have intimacy with someone and with animals. God used Tina to help me see that there was a better future. And one of the things that I remember about Tina was when we would just take off when life got hard. And it was a very informal relationship. At times I didn't wear tennis shoes, which I don't recommend now when you're riding a horse. No saddle. And I just remember just being so open with her and trusting with her that I can even remember like how it feels to touch her mane or how to, or her smell. And what we would do when we went out was we would go on the train track, be next to the train, and we would race the trains.
You did?
We did.
Wow.
And I mean, we lost every time. But I just remember, you know, when the train would come, he would see us, right? And he would make a sound, a honk, and we just started galloping. And we would go so fast that we reached freedom together. And when we reached that freedom together, like I could feel the air hit my face. I could feel that we were just like conquering the world together, and all the stresses, all the pain that I was experiencing was gone in that moment.
That's beautiful. And I just that idea of freedom, you know, and being able to allow ourselves that sense of no pain, no suffering, no sense of responsibility, just being fully present and alive in the moment, and that sense of liberation that comes with that. And I mean, to have that experience at such a young age.
Right.
And that was the seed that planted this idea of the Graceful Oaks Youth Ranch.
Right, right. And then in 1999, when God spoke to my heart about this vision, it was as though I was taking what I experienced with my horse Tina, and God was providing a place for others to come, you know, with children, women, families to come and find refuge from their painful experiences and experience freedom, experience love, experience acceptance. Because when we're going through so much pain and trauma, it's a battle to fight. And so when you're connecting with horses, when you're connecting with animals, the guard comes down and you can really learn how to have a relationship and how to receive.
What is the power? I mean, I know this is a little bit of a divergent from what we had, but I thought it was such an important thing that you just said right there about the power of the animal that enables you to connect in a very deep way that really like calms you and you feel that presence, that you're safe with them. Is that what I'm getting as when you're dealing with?
Yes, definitely. And I think because like when we go through trauma and when we go through pain, right, we have experiences where people may have responded to us in a negative way, right? And so we are able to leave that behind, those responses, those reactions, and start fresh with an animal, right? And then start to build a relationship. So even when you're starting and working with an animal or a horse, just by touching them, you're already starting a relationship. You're starting to build that trust. And it's trust that's being built between the person and the animal. So it's for both of them.
Yeah. Well, and that's such an important thing when anybody has ever gone through trauma, your nervous system starts to change, and so you're constantly looking for cues of danger, and it's really hard to find cues of safety because there's been an imbalance in the structure of the nervous system, and so animals like horses are able to bring us back into that ventral vagal system part of our bodies, which allows us to calm down, allows us to feel safe again. And that's really where the healing can begin, right?
Right, in the present moment with them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'd love to meet some more of your team here. I mean,
you know what?
Next?
I have an amazing team here, right? Yes, I have an amazing team here who really helps fulfill the vision at Graceful Oaks. They've been a large component of everything that goes into Graceful Oaks. So here I have Tiffany Anderson. Hi. Valerie Renville.
Thank you.
And Michaela Wenholm.
Hi.
Well, I'm so happy to have all of you here, and I want to make sure that we get you in here. Tiffany, share just a little bit about your background as well, and why are you so passionate about this work that you do?
So Shalay brought me on through You Matter. You Matter is the domestic violence group that we have at Graceful Oaks. I am actually a survivor of domestic violence, or DV, as they call it in short. And my heart speaks through it because God spoke through me to get out of the horrible relationship I was in and help others. It took me a while to get there, but each time I get to help somebody, I heal even more.
Isn't that true?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you help somebody and you're able to finally, it's like you feel so trapped by your pain.
Yes.
I mean, you feel so stuck by it that you can't get out of it, and then you see somebody else who's kind of stuck too, and you help them through it, and by helping them, you help yourself, and you kind of break through even more. And we get to that place of freedom that you were talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
It does. It heals you, step by step. Little things it brings out that maybe you forgot.
Yeah.
But you heal at the same time. You're remembering those. At least that's what I've been getting out of all this, and helping others.
Well, what is your, I mean, would you like to add what your background here? I want to make sure I get everybody here just to speak really quick.
Well, I would say I just had the privilege. I've been in church ministry for over 23 years, and that's how I came to know Shalay. She was attending our church. And just through our friendship, we were able to bring a bond, and just hearing her heart for what God was laying on her heart, and just walking beside her, we became deep friends. But we also, I got to be a part of watching God work and make this vision a reality.
Yeah.
And for me, that has always been my own personal passion, is to help people find healing from their wounds that this world has thrown upon them, and to find that in the one person of Christ, who really truly is the healer of all. And that's what I love about what the vision Shalay had. It's this equine therapy that uses God's most majestic animals and then couples them with the love of God to bring that healing that he does. And so for me, I've just been walking alongside of her and supporting her wherever I can.
And I think that's, when you talk about, Christ as being, he was the greatest healer.
Yes.
He really was. I mean, and I'm a big passionate lover of all the mystics and great teachers, but he was the greatest. So, and to have a root, I think any great healing passion, healing tradition has to be rooted in those deep spiritual truths that enable you to move through the pain so that you can get to the other side.
So I actually heard about Graceful Oaks through the grapevine. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I first started there. I just kind of helped out wherever they needed me. And I guess it was just kind of over time and through like Shalay's guidance and through experiencing everything the ranch has to offer that I realized, I have a passion for working with children, and I have a passion for helping to guide youth to figure out, helping them to grow into themselves and finding their own passions and building their own successful futures and careers. So that's my contribution to the ranch.
That's a pretty amazing contribution. That's fantastic.
And Michaela has been with us since the beginning in 2015.
Wow, fantastic. So you have you are a true embodiment and success of what the ranch is all about, the mission and purpose of Graceful Oaks Youth Ranch. What is the mission?
So the mission is to mentor children, empower youth to lead, foster emotional healing, and strengthen families.
Strengthen families.
Yes.
How do you strengthen families? Do you bring them over to the ranch as well? Is that something that...
Yes.
Yeah.
We open it up for the ranch. We have family fun nights where we invite families from the community to come to have s'mores together, to learn, to live and laugh and play together. And then we also have horseback riding. We offer archery during those times so that they can just let the stresses of the day go and just experience and connect with each other.
Oh, that's great. And especially if they're going through any kind of trauma as a family, or issues or problems, reconnecting in a way that's outside of their routine is probably so extraordinarily powerful and healing to them. Right. Now, Tiffany, you're focused on the domestic violence aspect of it, and I know that there's a lot of women out there that are watching and tuning in today to the show, whether they're listening, whether they're watching it live right now, and part of one of the things that we were going to talk about today is this aspect of domestic violence, and what is it, first of all, and how do you think the COVID pandemic that we've just been in, how has that impacted the incidence of domestic violence?
Well, first of all, domestic violence, as they call it, DV, is a pattern of violence using force or threats, a controlling behavior that can include physical, emotional, psychological, and sexual, and financial abuse. The financial abuse is using money and financials to exert control.
Mm-hmm.
And with the pandemic, myself, COVID made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Isolation has always been one of the most powerful weapons in the abuser's arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic violence itself is a pandemic within a pandemic. COVID does not make an abuser, but COVID makes it worse. It gives them more tools and more chances to control you because they've had to be isolated or quarantined in your home or wherever you may live. You can't go out, you can't be around people, and unfortunately the government tells you you can't go out
Mm-hmm.
because everybody needs to stay safe at home. So the violence escalates. People have lost their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
people have turned to alcohol, people have turned to drugs, and even an abuser, I read some articles, an abuser became an abuser after he had a wonderful job and he had a wonderful family and he lost his job when COVID came.
Mm-hmm.
And he started drinking, and his wife ran and took the kids. It's changed a lot. Surveys around the world have shown domestic violence spiking January of 2020 and jumping a year over year compared to the same period of 2019.
Wow, that much?
DV increased 30% in China, 25% more in Argentina, 30% in Cyprus. I don't know exactly where that's at.
Cyprus. Well, I actually have people that listen and tune in from that
Yeah.
part of the world. Cyprus is in the Mediterranean. It's near
Oh,
Greece.
okay.
So we have a lot of people from Greece.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for
that's
tuning in.
my
Yeah.
ancestors. No, 30% in Singapore and 50% in Brazil.
Wow.
In
50?
the 50.
50.
50.
Wow, that's wow.
In the United States, the situation is equal troubling, with police departments reporting increases in cities around the country. 18% in San Antonio, 22% in Portland, and 10% in New York. And the saddest thing I read is that one study in the Journal of Radiology Reports in Brigham in Boston
Yeah.
showed that radiology scans and superficial wounds consistent with DV from March 11th to May 3rd.
So March 11th of 2020 to May 3rd
Mhm.
of 2021.
Yes.
Okay.
It exceeded the totals for the same period of 2018 and 2019 combined. It gives me chills. And then I also focus on the fact that children, when they go to school, they're safe.
Yeah.
They get fed. They
Yeah.
might not get fed at home. They're safe at school. That's their safe spot. But children being home and online, and the stress from parents working,
Yeah.
it's hard. And I was shocked by the numbers.
That's astonishing. That's I suspected that it was high, that there was things that was probably not being discussed, and because there's so much other things that are going on in the national news, that this is not being discussed. It needs to be discussed. And now that you've just reported what the impact is having on people, it's I think we have to understand that abused people abuse people.
Yeah.
Damaged people damage people. All right, 90%. And this is when I teach in my classes, and I teach them. 90% of abusive people were abused as children. 90%. And that, just like what you were talking about with that story, Tiffany, where that, the guy, when we had a job and he was doing fine, and he loses his job, he starts drinking, he's feeling bad, and he takes it out on his children, and then the children pay the price.
Yes.
And their children pay the price,
Yes.
and their children, and so these things become transgenerational. People, they go, oh, that stuff is, no, it's real. It is absolutely 100% real.
And it just doesn't happen in heterosexual relationships. It happens in same sex. It happens in the opposite sex. It happens in any relationship that you have with anybody. It can happen at work.
Well, it can happen in it's usually man with a woman, usually.
Usually.
Sometimes it's same sex, sometimes it's reverse, sometimes it's woman with a man. You
Right.
can
Yes.
be
Right.
emotionally and psychologically abused in the other direction. A man is not capable to handle emotional abuse. Our brains are just not wired to do so.
And they're also
Yeah.
wired not to tell people because they're the man and they need to take care of themselves. But
Yeah.
and they're embarrassed.
Yes.
You know?
You don't want to
You don't
talk
want-
about it.
No, you don't.
You don't want to say anything about it, and you don't
No.
want to talk about it. And I think I read one time that emotional abuse to a man was equivalent to physical abuse to a
Yes.
woman. So we need to be having not only these conversations, but we need to be doing things about it that stop it, that end it. And we're going to get into some of that here. But what are your opinions, just as we're talking about this? What do you think some of the root causes
The root
of
cause.
domestic violence are? It's kind of a
Well,
big question.
It's kind of funny that you bring up men because I read an article saying that 1 out of 3 men, 1 out of 3 people, one of them is a male and the other are female.
Wow.
So studies say that about 1/3 of people who are abused physically, sexually, emotionally will become abusers themselves. Abusers feel that they have the right to control, and that's the big thing with abusing. Control is the key thing. And restrict their partner's life, often either because they believe their own feelings and needs should be the priority in a relationship or because they enjoy the power that such abuse gives them. Drugs and alcohol is another root cause of abuse as well. When they have problems with them, these two things can escalate abuse, feeling like they have more power and more control over the victim.
Wow.
So, I don't know if there's a really root cause, but as you said, if you're abused when you're a child, I believe that you become an abuser somehow, some way. And some may not think that they are, but they are.
Yeah.
And then you go and you try to get help and you realize, oh, well, I had that in my growing up. I had that in my childhood. Oh, that's what that meant? Oh, that's not love? Okay, well, that's how I was taught love, so this is how I'm showing love.
Yeah.
So it's sad and it's confusing, but control is, it's wanting to control somebody. Isolation is a big thing, and that's why the pandemic has taken over with domestic violence.
Yeah, well, that's one of their essential tools in being able to have power over somebody.
Yeah.
And I think, when you were talking about it, this whole idea of power, I've got to have power over this person. And where does that come? And why do we feel we need to have power over somebody and in a way that takes away their light? It's almost like I can't generate my own light for my own person. I have to steal it. I have to take it from somebody else in order to feel empowered, to feel strong, to whatever it may be. And so I'm going to manipulate you. I'm going to control you. I'm going to dominate you. I'm going to intimidate you. I'm going to keep you from your friends. I'm going to keep you from your family. I'm going to do all these things in order to fill myself up, to make me feel what? Powerful.
Yeah,
Right?
powerful.
And I mean, to me, we get it, we understand it, but we can't stop ourselves from people who are, abusers. They just can't stop themselves. I mean, why else do we abuse?
Because it's a part of our sin nature. It goes right back
Right.
to
Exactly.
not understanding who we were really created to be. That was not the image that God has for his sons and daughters.
No.
And so we end up falling to these false patterns of culture and tradition that God never ordained for us to be. He meant for men and women to be in unity, to support one another, to be equal, and to be in partnership, and to be filled not by each other as much as from their Creator, so that they could then love more beautifully to each other. So I always feel like if we can point people to the source of who created them, and they can understand how deeply loved they are, just the way they are, and their wounds don't define them, that there could be a path of healing that places like the ranch offer. We get back to the source of who you are. And animals like horses, they're not manipulated by the sin. They are totally in the moment, present with you, and they allow you to just be. And then start to work through all that. So that, for me personally, I just see that's a lot of pain in a lot of people's life.
Well, and also, and I think you're right on. You don't, this idea that wherever it came from, that we had to have a relationship that one person was more dominant than the other, when it was supposed to be a co-equal partnership where you supported one another, where you encouraged one another, where you enabled them to become the best version of themselves as you possibly can, and vice versa. And together, by doing that, we lift everybody up, and the whole unit gets stronger. And better, but we had this idea because we didn't learn, or our parents got hurt, or the sin that got started, and I think one of the things that is one of the biggest tools that abusers have is manipulation.
That's the big one.
I think it's manipulation is I'm going to manipulate you to do what I want you to do for me,
And then make you feel bad.
And then make you feel bad for doing it. Yeah. And at the core of it is, I'm going to make your spirit dance for me.
They're going to take all the light out of you and turn it into as dark as they possibly can.
And it's and they will find all kinds of different ways to be able to do that. For those who are coming out of the COVID pandemic right now and are starting to, it's like we've all been in a haze, and then all of a sudden you wake up from the haze, and what are some of the signs that they should look out for? There's some we've already talked about what to look out for in an abuser and some of their traits and characteristics. But what about gaslighting and charming personality? What are the things, the signs to look for that says you might be with someone who's abusive?
Well, you got some of them right.
I have a few experiences myself.
Narcissistic personality.
Yes.
They like to control, they like to feel power, and they like to hold you accountable for everything you do. You could clean the house wrong. You could breathe wrong, and it's not the way that they want you to. So, they keep you antisocial. They won't let you be around your family and friends. At first, they're charmers, and they're wonderful, and everybody loves them. And then the relationship continues, and they change, and they start pulling you away from their friends, from your friends that you guys have together, isolating you in your home, telling you, oh, nobody's going to want you, nobody's going to love you, and they start the abuse. But then they go through another thing called, wine and roses. As my counselor that I went to said, it's kind of like a woman's PMS cycle. They go great, they're awesome, and then all of a sudden, boom, they dive, and that's when the abuse starts. And at the end of that cycle, it starts to climb again, and they're all, oh, I'm so sorry, I love you, I want to be with you, I didn't mean to hurt you, and it's a cycle that they continue to repeat.
Well, and it's also one of the things that I teach in my classes is it's a betrayal bond.
Yes.
It's this betrayal bond dynamic rather than it's a perversion of the loyalty bond.
Yes.
And that was the original thing. I'm loyal to you. Under God's eyes, I've committed to you, and I'm going to honor you and protect you and serve you for my life. That's loyalty. But it's the betrayal bond. And it's reinforced by the constant betrayals of trust, and then reeling you back in.
And that's what they do.
And if you don't know that from the very beginning, and you get caught in these betrayal bond dynamics, they can be very intoxicating. it can be very addictive. You're actually addicted to this pattern.
And that's why some people fall into the same relationships.
Yep. Yep. If you you'll find the patterns, you just will.
Yeah. I think we've all been there.
It's like you keep finding this, just a different person, same relationship.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that that's such an important thing for people to understand, is whenever you're going through a challenge, is this challenge going to make us a better couple, or is this about power and control?
Exactly.
You know, because we're all going to have to face challenges.
Right.
You know, but how are we going to face those challenges, right?
And how we deal with them, and not with anger. I mean, everybody has anger, and they get mad at certain things, but they don't let it escalate to where you're actually physically hurting them. But there's emotional. Physical bruises go away. Emotional scars, they can last for years. 20 years. And you still, something can bring up an emotional, something that happened to you.
I wanted to get you in here on your thoughts. I know I can see the wheels turning on there. Yeah.
The thoughts were going through my mind. Some of those are the most extreme examples, but abuse has a spectrum.
Ah, okay.
And so, you also have to look for things where, like we were starting talking about that partnership, where someone is trying to be something they were never meant to be for you. In other words, it starts out as caring about you, wanting to help make you a better person, when they're not really just pouring into who you are and appreciating who you are as a person, for your gifts, for your talents. That's one of the things that I've always encouraged my own daughters. Look for someone who isn't going to try to complete you. You're not going to be complete in a person. What you want is someone who's going to be in great partnership and who's going to encourage you in what your passions, your dreams are, and vice versa. You do the same. But anytime someone's trying to make you what they think you should be, that's a warning sign.
Huge.
Big red flag.
Huge red flag. And I think that's the best I've ever heard it said. I mean, that's really, because we're so, when you fall in love with somebody, it's easy to get carried away and go on that, and then all of a sudden, you just don't know. But are they trying to bring out the best in you, or are they trying to take from you? Are they trying to make you into somebody you're not? I love you, but change.
Exactly. And you cannot change a person no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
And you can't wish it, because they're the person they are.
And most often, your abusers themselves are very insecure.
Oh, very.
That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah,
very. Is this because people are insecure? Is that the root cause of a lot of this stuff?
That's
even
where the
though it's a
control
mask,
comes from.
is the control is because they're insecure, right?
They have no control over themselves. They really don't know how to do that, so they put it to an outward outlet, and it gets out of hand. I mean, most abusers, like you said, 90% are abused themselves. So what kind of thought process do they have about themselves? How do they think about themselves? Not very highly. But that wall of pride keeps you from really saying, I need help. And that's the sad part about it, is they need help, but in the midst of a domestic violence situation, you have to find safety.
That's cute. Well, that's critical. I think that's number one, is you have to find safety. You have to be safe.
Yes.
And anytime you're going through any kind of fight or flight response, which is what it is. It's a fight or flight response. Your body is going to go into flight, which is first, let me run out of here, let me run away if I can. If I can't, then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to fight. And I'm going to see if I can win or fight. And then the next stage is freeze. And so it goes up the scale. And that's when you're so overwhelmed by the feelings and the stress chemicals and the chemistry and all that stuff that's going on, and you can't handle it anymore. And then you'll go into collapse, which is despair and hope. It's you feign death. You feign, just wait till it's over, just wait till it's gone. So that's a trajectory. So we want to get you safe. We want you to, when you see that moment, you know it, you sense it, you find a safe haven, you go to a safe place, because it's only in safety can we really address those deeper issues.
Right.
What could we be doing better about raising our children? And I want to get you in on the conversation here. I don't want to leave you alone. I haven't forgotten about you here, but I just, I think it's so important for us as a society to be able, because you know, we're doing the preventative measures now, right? You know, we've got, we're dealing with the wounds now, but how can we prevent these in the future? We've got to get to the families, we've got to get to the children, we've got to get to those core, and so that we learn and teach them to respect and cherish and honor the person that's in front of them. That you don't need to control me. I don't need to control you. Are we failing our children, and what are the values do you think we need to help them to incorporate in their souls? Would you like to take it first?
Yeah, I'll take off with it. So I think one of the things that I've seen a lot of is when people and parents and friends and family try to put children into like boxes, and they try to tell their kids like, this is what you need to do. You need to do these activities or get these grades, and this is the career goals that you want. And I mean, a lot of kids, they're not going to fit into these boxes. I mean, not every kid is made the same. And so I think what I tell, you know, all of my students that I work with and all of their families is that, you know, every child that comes to the ranch is going to have a different passion. Some of them will want to work with the horses, others want to work with the goats. Some of them will want to help lead events, others just kind of want to sit back and want to help behind the scenes, and that's all okay. You know, it takes a village and everyone is going to play an important role. But, you know, when a child is put into a box or they're told that they have to be a certain way, I know that it creates a lot of agitation, and I've seen how, you know, it doesn't really help them to become their best selves. So oftentimes they feel very unfulfilled, or they feel, you know, jealous of what other kids may be doing. So it just creates a lot of backlash, and it creates a lot of aggravation within their own relationships with themselves and with their, you know, classmates and their families and friends. So it's important to just let them kind of grow into their own person, I would say.
I think that's so great. You know, it's finding, that's beautiful. Thank you, that was lovely. Learning, giving children the chance to become their own unique individual, to develop what you're talking about, and is, my opinion, is esteem. Learning to have self-esteem, to esteem himself. I'm enough just as I am, good enough, and, you know, I don't need to be any different than who I am today, who God made me, and that's it.
Yeah, we happen to just, usually with kids, someone who feels they love behind the scenes, they're quiet, they are such a force of what we need in this world, and yet our world and a lot of people esteem those who have the spotlight, those who are bold, and that's good too, as long as that's who they are. But we need to let kids know that whoever you are just beautiful the way you are, and you're needed. You're needed. Like, we need all sorts of personalities at the ranch. It isn't just bold people. We want people who love to get dirty. We love people who like to help out. So there's a variety of ways that the ranch offers, but there's also, that's the way life is. We need each other.
Yes, and I think it's our diversity is our strength.
It is.
You know, we have core values. Like for me, some of those core values that I think are so important and that we really need to get back to are treating others the way you want to be treated.
Yes.
You know, it's like the core, the golden rule. I mean, we need to just get back to some very basic things like that, and treating others with respect, and working hard, and being honest, and being truthful, and, you know, celebrating the truth and speaking that to the best that you can in all your interactions, having courage. All those things I think we need to inculcate into our children, because I think you know, when you see these incidents of domestic violence, the only way we're going to attack or to really end this problem is to get it to change it in the families, I think.
And I think for me, one of the hardest decisions that I had to make in my previous marriage that ended because of domestic violence was I had to make the decision, is this the kind of person that I would want my daughter to be with? Would I want her to be with this person? The answer was no. So then I had to be an example. I had to show her, and it was incredibly hard to show her that it wasn't okay. And of course, there's a cost to that decision, right? But it was the best decision for me to show my daughter as an example that this type of behavior is not okay.
Yeah, it's so important. You know, sometimes we, you know, and I speak from knowledge on this. You stay in marriages that you shouldn't stay in.
Any
because you
relationship.
think, or any relationship, that's where you are disvalued and depreciated and hurt or anything like that, whether it's physical, emotional, sexual, or mental. Those are things that we shouldn't tolerate. And what you tolerate, you teach others how to treat you.
Yes.
And that's a hard lesson to learn sometimes. And thank you for sharing that, because that's a really big, important lesson for all the mothers out there, and some fathers too. Mothers with their children, it's sometimes you stay in something too long because you think that's the way we got to do it. No, you actually teach them better by saying you draw the line and you say no more.
Right.
You know more.
And they need to get help. A lot of people return to abusive relationships because it's what they know.
That's right.
As sad as that is and sounds,
true.
but it's
It's
true.
true.
Because they don't know how else to function outside of an abusive relationship or an unhealthy relationship. And you've got to know that there is so much support out there, and it's not right.
Mm-hmm.
But don't
Right.
be embarrassed to go to
No.
counseling. Everybody needs counseling.
Yes.
Something in their life,
Yes.
they need to talk to somebody too. That's why you have friends. That's why you have family. That's
Mhm.
It's okay to go talk to somebody.
And guys, it's okay
Yes,
to talk to
and
somebody.
Yes, please do.
All right?
Yes, please.
You just talk, all right? It's okay to be able to talk about you, but it doesn't make you any less of a guy.
No.
Right.
It's actually going to make you better.
Exactly.
It'll make you stronger.
And at the ranch, like, we work with counselors, we
Yeah.
work with case managers. We love to have that type of support system around our clients, so that they benefit from all of us. So,
Well, let's talk a little bit about the ranch right now and the
Okay.
programs that you've got going on, because you've got amazing
Yeah.
programs here.
mhm.
And so just what are, one of the things you have is You Matter, which is, since we're on the domestic violence track right now, what is You Matter, and what are the tenets, what is the program here that is available?
When did we start this? In 2018?
Yes.
We pulled You Matter together,
Mhm.
and we are there I'm a victim advocate,
Mhm.
and they can reach us by calling us, and we can talk to them. We have resources to give them from start to finish. We can go to court with them. We can meet at the ranch and talk. We can just be there for them. It's a safe place. We started meetings,
Mhm.
and then COVID hit,
Mhm.
and we couldn't go anywhere from there because the last year we were kind of stuck. So now this year we're trying to get revved up again, but now we want to bring horses, the client therapy involved with domestic violence.
Well, that's
Yes.
this lady right here.
Yes.
She's the
Yes.
expert on
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
So, what is it? Why do the horses? I love them because they're just such noble creatures.
Right.
But what is it about horses that are offering the healing journey that's different than counseling?
So, we work with women and kids who have gone through domestic violence, child abuse, any type of abuse or trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what the person has experienced, the horses will relate to them, will be with them, will accept them, will love them, will teach them how to have a healthy relationship. So then they can go and they can have healthy relationships with their family members, with communities, with their friends at school.
Oh, I was entranced by what you were saying,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's like, I can just feel that sense of like, wow, I can go, this is a home I can go
Yes,
to.
yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've worked with women who have been rescued from sex trafficking.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I'd like to tell a story about CJ really quickly, if that's okay with you.
Oh, of course, please.
So,
Yes.
and I've come up with a different name, of course, for confidentiality purposes. But so I'll call her CJ. So CJ came to the ranch for the very first time, and I met with her. So when she approached me, her shoulders were like slouched forward, no eye contact at all. She just really wasn't present because of all the pain, all the heartache that she had just experienced, right? So CJ is coming back to the ranch every week, and I'm having her work with the horses. We have horses that have different backgrounds. Like I have an Icelandic pony who was abandoned and went to the feedlot. So she connected with Dusty on a very intimate level, and her guard started to come down, and she started to talk to Dusty and to share her pain with Dusty And Dusty just stood there and just accepted her exactly where she was. So she kept coming and coming, and then I had her meet with Sky, who is a retired barrel racer. Sky is really good about teaching people about healthy boundaries, how to communicate, because he has a mind of his own at times, right? So CJ got on Sky, and at first, Sky was leading CJ in the arena, doing the obstacle course. Well, then what happened was, CJ was like, no, this is my ride. And she became assertive. She started to communicate with how she wanted Sky to go and where she wanted Sky to go. So she became the leader. And that, and what she learned in that arena was, how do I have healthy boundaries with people? How can I teach people to respect my boundaries?
Wow.
And so she kept coming each week, and when she first started, she had no goals. She didn't know what she wanted to do. She was fine with being exactly where she was.
Yeah.
So after 3 months, I'm in the chicken coop. She gets to the ranch, she runs into the chicken coop. Chalet, I'm so excited. I'm gonna go see my dad. I'm gonna stay with my dad. I'm gonna work at this place. I have these friends that I'm gonna reconnect with. So she began to have goals, right? And an excitement for laughter. And so being in the equine therapy sessions, she got to really learn who she was, not what the trauma said she was,
Yes.
but who she really was and who she was becoming.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and it was such a incredible transformation in such a short period of time.
Right,
too. I mean,
right.
3 months that's not. I mean,
Yeah.
considering that's pretty fast.
Right. And when she was working, we were working with counselors.
Yeah.
And so she had other people in her support system.
Yeah.
And when she moved, she had more support with her too. So we want to make sure that people are supported when they leave the ranch as well.
How important, Chalet, and anybody else who wants to answer the question, how important is establishing trust? Is that a key component when you're working with people, the women and children that come to the ranch?
I mean, trust is essential. I mean, if you can't trust someone, you're never going to open up. You're never going to allow yourself to be who you are, because you're going to feel very vulnerable. And if you've been hurt, the last thing you want is to be hurt again.
Oh God, yeah.
So if you can't trust
Yeah.
someone, and people will let you down.
Yes.
That's the unfortunate part about life. And so you have to learn who you can trust and who you can't trust. But a horse, that trust with a horse,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have this mindset of manipulation. They don't have this mindset of trying to overcome you. What they're doing is themselves being who they are and working with someone else so that the two of you can learn from each other. But they don't have any preconceived ideas of what they should do with you other than this is who they are. And when they find out that you can be trusted, they let you in. And when you can find out that they can be trusted, you begin to have this bond that you can then take in and realize that's what a trusting relationship should look like.
Is this question just came to me. Is boundaries, setting healthy boundaries, a key component in establishing trust?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why?
Yes.
Well, an abuser, they don't have boundaries.
That's, well, they're going to see whether you have any boundaries, right?
Mhm.
Because they don't have any.
No.
And if you don't have any boundaries to keep them away, they're going to come in and just take
You're
over.
working with a 2,000-pound horse. If you're not careful with your boundaries,
Yeah.
you're going to get stepped on. It's not out of maliciousness. It's literally just you haven't set a boundary with this horse, wouldn't you say? I mean, how do you teach the youth with that?
I mean, you just have to, we start with the idea of the bubble. You have your bubble, they have their bubble, and, you have to learn to respect their own space, the horse's space, and how to treat them respectfully and how you would want to be treated, so you're not going to be like in their faces or, pulling on their mane and tail. And then they're also going to treat you respectfully. So, you know, then you can pet the horse and you can interact with the horse and walk it and ride it. So it's just being able to recognize that, you know, you and this other being both have your own wants and wills and your own spaces. And, you know, once you can realize that, then the children and the horses can kind of come together and build their own bonds together. So.
Oh, I think that's brilliant. I love that. And I think that's one of the things is we don't understand that building a harmonious balance between people is predicated on the idea that I am my own person, you're your own person, and I have my own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and all that. And we need to be able to know when it's been crossed and how to realign it and how to establish it, all those things. And you've got the programs here, so talk to us a little bit about, and make sure to look at the camera while you're doing it, and of the youth programs and what other programs that you offer at the ranch as well.
So one of the programs that we have at the ranch is the Empowering Youth Leadership Program. So this program is focused on teaching students and guiding them towards becoming their own leaders of themselves and of their activities that they're involved in. So we like to start out with guiding students about, you know, what is leadership and what are your interests and your own different things in life that you want to work towards as your goals and such. And we take that through different lessons and through ranch care and through interacting with the horses at the ranch, and we build all of it through a 6-week program right now. And at the end of the 6-week program, we tell the students, okay, now you are going to take everything that you've learned and you're going to lead an event. So we have all of our students who have gone through the 6-week session. They will work on, you know, feeding everyone at the event, doing the horseback riding, taking care of all the rest of the animals. We work on customer service, and all of the students will have different roles throughout the event that reflect their own interests and their different goals at the ranch. And this allows, you know, for them to grow as individuals and for them to grow professionally, so that once they're done with the program, they can kind of leave it feeling more prepared to take on the world, because, you know, when you're young, it's a really big, scary world. So, you know, any skills that you can build help out with that.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And Charlie, I think it's important to note that Michaela has been with us since we started.
Wow.
She started through the program. She was promoted several times, and now she's the Empowering Youth Leadership Program Manager. So she's overseeing. So this is a really good example of what we want to do at the ranch, how we want to equip and train our leaders.
Well, you know what, and starting early, starting when they're at your age. I don't know what age you started at.
Yeah, we have middle school to high school ages. So, and then once they are through the program at least a year, they can come back to the program again and they can be promoted, we say. So you can take on larger leadership roles. So right now we have some of our students who are guiding and leading the horsemanship training for this year for the new students, which is great. We have other students that are part of what we call a core team. So these are students who have exemplified or a wish or a need to be bigger leaders than what they were the year before if they're still in the program. So they take on new leadership roles. They do a lot of like volunteer contacting, or we outreach them to other volunteers at the ranch and they work with them for other programs. So there's many opportunities for any student to kind of go along with any of their own wishes or desires or goals at the ranch and kind of follow it through to the end. So.
That's fantastic. Really great.
So
wow,
exciting.
well done. That was wonderful. I love that. So exciting. What do you love most? And we're coming to the end of the show here. Now, I would just like to ask, what do you love most about the work that you do at the ranch? Just each of you, just a little. What wakes you up in the morning every day that keeps you going? That just like, wow.
I think mine is something that I've already said about CJ.
Yeah.
Seeing that transformation, seeing her love life again after such a traumatic experience, just is so rewarding, and I'm just so honored to be a part of the ranch.
That's beautiful.
I would have to echo what Shelley said. When you get to watch the Lord work in someone's life and bring them to the person they were meant to be, and watch him work in that way, and you know you got to participate in a small bit of the bigger project, I mean, there's no greater reward. I mean, there is nothing more refreshing, joyful than seeing someone blossom into who they were meant to be.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I
that's,
fully agree. Tiffany?
Well, I guess take it back. I've known Shalay since we were young, and this is gonna make me emotional.
That's great, right?
So I think God played a part in our life back then to bring us to where we are now. And I think the trauma that both her and I went through has brought us to what we want to do. And my greatest is seeing somebody survive domestic violence, to get out, to know that their dark inner core that they feel like they have light again and they can shine. And that we are not the only ones out there to help domestic violence. There is tons of resources, tons of information, but we are just one of many that we want to help people.
Yeah.
And that's...
How can people get in contact with you, get in touch with you, and what should their expectations be?
So you mentioned our website. It's also goyr.org, or gracefulloaksyouthranch.org. We also have a Facebook page. My phone number is on the website, so they can just call and we can connect with them, see where they're at in life, what their needs are, and then we direct them to the program manager.
Do you guys have any needs right now that you want to let people know of? Do you have anything that people need to know about?
So today has been awesome because our first need is just getting the message out there. We want people to know about Graceful Oaks. We love what we do, and we want more people to come and help. So going into my second point, it's volunteers. This ranch takes a village to run.
Yeah.
And you know, whatever skills people have, we can put them to use.
Wow.
We're also, I think our biggest heart is to be able to offer these services to children, women, and families who are in the trenches. And when you're in the trenches, you don't have finances that much.
No.
And so we would love to be able to offer equine therapy free of charge to these people that are in the trenches like we have been.
Wow.
And we know that with God, you know, there's a better future out there.
Well, I'm just honored to have had this conversation with all of you today, because what you are doing is extraordinary. And having known both of you for a long time and seeing how much you both have grown and the challenges you've had to overcome, and you know, it just moves me to tears as well, you know, to be able to provide a platform for all of you to be able to share your vision and your mission and your purpose out to the wider world, because it is so needed and it's so necessary. And together we can make a difference. Together we can end this. Together we can put a stop.
Yes.
Put a stop to it. So, folks, we are at the end of the show. I mean, it's can you
That went
believe
by
it?
fast.
This guy, doesn't it?
Yes, it went by fast.
I know, it's amazing. It gets faster and faster. But, folks, I just want to do a quick shout out to the station here. Thank you, KUHS, Radio TV Denver. We are the stream. Thank you, Henry, and everybody in the back that makes all the magic happen. We are broadcasting live here in Denver, Colorado. Beautiful, beautiful Denver, broadcasting here all across the nation and all around the world. We're being listened to in over 240 countries. And it's because of you who tune in wherever you are. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making this one of the top shows here at the station. And we continue to work to provide you and bring you the best shows that we possibly can. I'm humbled to be your host. Next week we were going to have a guest, or 2 weeks from now, I'm sorry, the 28th, we're going to have a woman named Amy Frank. She was in the military. She's going to be bringing, talking about military sexual trauma, and she was just speaking in front of the Senate Armed Services Committee about this just a couple months ago. So she's going to be on, and we're just got some great guests lined up for you. So tune in. This has been such a privilege, a humble privilege to host this today. I would love for all of you just to share one bit of advice, one bit of wisdom. I ask this of everybody, one bit of wisdom from your life experience.
So I think for me, God is faithful. He has seen me through sexual abuse, through a life-threatening car accident, through a domestic violence in my previous marriage, and he has been faithful. There have been times when I haven't seen him, but he's been moving and helping me and providing and protecting. So even though we can't see him sometimes, he's faithful.
Wow. Well, he has given you a vision and a mission, a huge, huge, huge one, and he gave it to the right person.
Thanks, Charlie.
Your wisdom?
My wisdom, boy, I have a lot. I don't know. I guess God is faithful. In my domestic violence relationship, marriage, ex-marriage, I was mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he put me here, but he didn't, and it was my choice to get out. He was giving me the doors to get out, and I just didn't choose.
Mm-hmm.
And the day that I woke up and I chose that, I shined, and my life has changed, and my life is happy, and I have children that I've always wanted. I have a wonderful husband, and all my friends and my family are back in my life.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Power of choice.
Yes, power of choice.
True. Yeah. I would just say, don't let your circumstances, your life traumas define you. That's not who you are.
That's
and
right.
there is always hope. And don't confuse the world with a loving God.
Amen to that. Don't let your circumstances hold you back.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I would say don't be afraid to take the first step towards whether it's getting out of a relationship or whether it's, making a major life choice towards like going to college or going back to school for something or taking on a new job or leaving a job. Any of those choices, it may seem so scary now, but it will make your future so much different. I mean, you can't even imagine how it'll change your life. So just, it may seem so scary and so different now, but it will improve, so.
Fantastic. This is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I wish we could keep going, but I'm really over. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in today to the council. We are adjourned.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you. May you all be well. May you all be free of pain and suffering. May you all be whole. God bless. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. Tune in. We've got another great show for you here on the council. God bless.